Well, hello, everybody. Welcome to the show today. This is Night Owls on Opinions. Yeah, I thought we'd talk a little bit today, and some of the things we have today are kind of talking about opinions and the value of them. But we'll get into that a little bit more. First off, welcome everybody. Hope you guys get over there and hit that share button so people come in here and all the other stuff, I guess. But more importantly, I am joined here on a beautiful morning. I have to say, I haven't seen the sun in quite a while. It's gorgeous day. It's not too hot. I got myself a nice hot cup of coffee, and I'm sitting here with a friend. So rock on, baby. How you doing, Thundero?
I am doing okay. It's one of those weeks where cool stuff happened and
Uh-huh.
really bad stuff happened.
Ooh,
And it's like, how do you feel about that?
I'll
Right?
take the bad first.
Do you well, luckily it was the bad first, but do you be happy that cool stuff happened? But then you got to deal with the bad stuff. And then when it happens to somebody you care about, you're like, well, now I kind of feel bad because cool stuff happened for me, but
Mm.
bad stuff happened for them. So it's one of those weeks where it's like a conflicted state that I'm in because I got my new computer finally got here.
Ooh, nice.
Uh, so I finally have a computer that's worth a lick again, and so that's nice. But then there was, a death in the family, so that sucks. And it's
Yeah,
like, damn it, I want to be happy, and these things are conflicting. It's one of those kind of weeks.
yeah.
Um, but it's okay. Everything will be okay in the end.
Of course, it always is, and everybody dies, dude.
It's true.
Shocking, I
Everybody.
know.
There's no
Yeah,
getting away from it.
yeah. Although I'm not sure what happened to that Lazarus fella.
He died eventually.
Did he? Do we have any
Yeah.
confirmation on that?
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm not sure. He might be Joe Biden. Anyway.
I'm going to say this. It's crazy. I have never, in my 36 years of life, seen displays against a president like I've been seeing at these sports arenas with Joe
Yeah.
Biden.
Yeah,
These people chanting "fuck Joe Biden" in the hundreds of thousands all
yeah.
across the country is insane to me. I've never, even with Trump at his worst, I've never seen that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the media was the one that was on Trump. And
Yeah.
the Twitterazzi, they were the ones that were on Trump. The normal Americans didn't care. There wasn't much noise. It was just that small minority who's very loud. Biden, it's public. The people are speaking. It's very different. People weren't speaking about Donald Trump. But you're right. I mean, I've lived through more presidents than you have, but we
Yeah.
both studied them. I know from just talking to you. I know you've studied American history, and I would say the nearest comparison, as far as public outcry against the president, would probably be Lincoln, right?
Oh, that's a good thing and a bad thing because
It
we know
is.
how that turned out.
Well, I mean, you got to understand, Lincoln is he's a convoluted thing. We have these images of some of our presidents like Washington and Lincoln as being these icons of virtue and such. And these aren't necessarily true, especially Washington. He was a pretty awful human being. But Lincoln, he wasn't this amazing savior, nor was he this awful thing either. As with most humans, they kind of fall in the middle. I think the problem with Biden that maybe outsteps some of the other bad presidents we've had in the past, because I think we've had presidents worse than Biden. Well, give him time, I guess. But the thing is he's such a political animal.
Yeah.
That's the issue. It's so over the top politic right now. There is no separation. There's no room to breathe. It's just pure raw politic all the time, and it's the nasty type of like Soviet Union type of politic because that's what's going on. If you haven't noticed, this is exactly what Russia looked like before the Bolshevik Revolution. This is exactly what happened in Cuba, exactly what happened in any other number of places you would like to point socialist fingers at. It's exactly what they do, and it's a bit shocking. And to as is usual. I don't know if you've noticed this in your life, but Australia is a rather noisy place. And
Yeah.
they always want to try to act like they're equal to the Americans. I do apologize, you're not. Nevertheless, you know how they are, right? They're
Yeah.
trying to, like, yeah, we're here too, which is fine. I have no problem with that in and of itself. But do you really need to be beating your citizens in the street just to make a point? Really? Yeah.
It's. I mean, I was talking to my father today actually, and I said it's probably going to end up. We're going to have to invade Australia at this rate. Holy cow, they've lost their mind. They've just completely
Well,
lost their mind
the eastern part
over there.
has, yeah. The western part
Yeah.
is
Well, yeah.
normal,
Or maybe there'll be a split in Australia too. That could be.
maybe.
I think that is the next real world war. It's going to be not one big war. It's going to be a whole lot of civil wars.
Little civil
A
wars.
whole bunch of
Uh,
these giant countries are going to break up,
and
and that'll be that.
Yeah, no, I agree. And you guys know I've been saying, and I'm sure people have been throwing the word conspiracy theorist at me. However, I
Yeah.
don't think I throw around conspiracy theories any more than Alex Jones does. That's the ironic thing about Alex Jones. I've never heard him use a conspiracy theory. Have you?
No.
No. And the thing about Alex is, as I don't know, rambunctious as his character is, he's always right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, and,
Pretty
and
much.
And you got to keep in mind that I don't know what they call themselves these days. Since they were exposed, the Bilderberg Group has probably changed their name by now, I would assume. But that group, those European bankers, they have an agenda, and they don't hide it. It's right out there. It's not a conspiracy theory. You can go read it. Right, you can go look at it if you want a kind of a introductory lesson into what they're trying to do. Go read the 2030 plan of the UK, the United, not UK, the United Nations, the UN. Go take a read on it, and you'll see they don't want you to have any meats. They don't want you to drive a car. They don't want you to own any property. They don't want you to have any money. They want a global government, et cetera, et cetera. Right? I hold this, and I don't think anything that's happened has proven me wrong either. They want civil war.
Yeah.
What they're
Of course
doing
they do.
is intentionally to create war. The
Yes.
stresses in America are intentional. They want us to lash out and they want to break America down. They want to get rid of threat to their authority.
Yeah. Of course.
Yeah.
They want many things. It doesn't mean they'll get them. Um. I think that there's going to come a time where the camel's back's going to break. America as it is just simply will not continue. It can't. It's impossible. I mean, I was just looking at a map, like a representation of the current shipping situation at our ports.
Hmm.
It's abominable. It is beyond reproach how bad the situation is about to
Yeah.
get.
Yeah.
And most Americans have no idea it's coming.
Yeah.
I'm
That's true.
talking this could be what the preppers have been prepping for. Not even trying to exaggerate, not even being hyperbolic. They are at least in most ports minimum a month backed up.
Oh
That
yeah.
means that
Yeah.
stuff's not getting shipped out to places, so places in the middle of the country are about to run out of stuff.
That's right. Yeah, and that's the problem when you have such a convoluted system, whatever system it may be, because that's the first world we live in, the modern world we live in. It's literally teetering on the edge every day. I mean, we're living in a 9 day cycle, 9 days, right?
Yep.
9 days where things could go absolutely pear shaped, right? And when you have the idiot situations that are going on, especially in major ports like California and New York City, you're and not having people going to work because of all the nonsense, and you get yourself backed up. That's hard to get back on top of that because we live on the edge. We're living beyond our means, right? And it's a serious issue. And this is unfortunately kind of we're sitting on the edge of all of that. And hopefully, people it'll work out, and people will be able to kind of work their way through it. Elrod, Biden is the worst. Maybe. Time will tell. I mean, we've had some bad presidents, Elrod. We really have.
Yeah.
And I understand you're kind of
True.
saying in the time of their presidency and such. That's true. He could turn out to be the worst. It's certainly bad. But what you have going on here is different than we've seen in the past. This is a true socialist grab. That's what's going on here.
Power grab.
They're breaking the law. They don't care about the Constitution. They're openly breaking the law, and they're trying to take the country. It's a coup in a way, a political coup. So yeah, I see your point that he's the worst, but and I don't even he's just the name of the thing. But I get your point. Australia becoming a Mad Max world. Yeah, it is, Alan.
It is.
It's insanity what's going on in Eastern Australia. Uh, and I'm just wondering if the Australians are going. I mean, they're up in protest in the millions, and there's only a few million people in that country. So it's kind of like when we saw Hong Kong, Thundero, and we
Yeah.
saw what 82% of the population was in the street.
Yeah.
That's
And it
ridiculously high.
and unfortunately, at the end, it did nothing.
No, no one helped them. Even
No
Trump.
one helped them.
That's my
Yeah.
biggest piss off with Trump is that he
Me
did
too.
nothing for Hong Kong, dude.
Trump and Hong Kong and Yemen, both of those. Yemen was a travesty. We had no business being a part of.
Yeah, that's true.
And Hong Kong, we did have a business being a part of, and we just weren't. Didn't do anything.
And Roger's upset that we're not being funny. Okay, we'll move on. But what do you want, man? It's just kind of weekly recap. But it is crazy shit going on, Roger. It is crazy.
Craziness.
But we will get into it here. You ready?
I'm ready.
All right, he's ready. So let me get over here and I'm going to start the day off. I'm going to do the board game second because I knew Roger was going to say something like that. I thought
You
we
just
need
knew
a
it.
little comedy, a little bit
Yep.
of comedy, if that's okay with you. I thought a little bit of levity would lighten the mood. So let me get into our levity here by looking at memes of the day. I think that's a pretty cool concept. So let's go ahead here. This is from Aliko Dangote, and he's a South African. He's an actual African, a real one. Go ahead and you read his stuff, and I'll read the responses. Go ahead.
Good morning. Write something special about Africa because he didn't capitalize it for some reason.
No, he
Africa.
didn't. In Africa, height depends on how tall you are. Africans with beards are just Africans without beards with beards.
That's true.
Go
That's
ahead.
true. As a native of South Africa, oh, why are people liking these comments? He said, and then he goes, as a native of South Africa, what is your number one favorite thing about South Africa?
If Africa, in Africa, it doesn't matter if you're gay, straight, or bisexual. At the end of the day, it's night.
This is all true. This person is just bringing truth to the
He
world.
is. He is. Go ahead. Go ahead.
That moron tweeting nonsense again in my posts. No idea why people keep liking that stuff. Blocked.
Yeah, you're not an internet person there, Mr. Aliko.
Oh no.
Go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead.
People not from Africa. How do you see the average African?
By traveling to Africa. Why so? He just this is a you know what I guess the young people call a boomer, and he's being serious. He's just trying to promote African stuff, and this is very lighthearted humor. There's nothing mean here, but he just doesn't get it, dude. That's funny. That's a meme. Yeah. Okay. Now this one's sad, dude.
Oh, robot escapes facility, runs out of batteries. 160 feet later.
What
What a
dumbass. Aw, aw, aw. This one's
Oh
not as
no.
funny.
Good old Count Dankula.
Yeah,
Dankula. Look, Broseph. You want to be gay, you want to be trans and all that shit, then you have fun. Enjoy yourself. I'm all about stuff between consenting adults. But as soon as it's not adults, and you try to make up some bullshit that kids can consent actually, then I'm just. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, I wholeheartedly agree. I don't
yeah.
really give two white shits what people do with their own bodies once they're adults, but leave the damn kids out of it.
That's right.
Leave them
I
alone.
agree. I agree. This one, I love this one. I'll read this one. Call with the wife. Me. Babe, I met Lois. What type of ceiling fan do you want for the living room? I don't care. Pick what you think looks good. Okay. Okay. You sure? It's a fan. You can't screw that up. Now that's not a loving wife, by the way. But yeah, of course, it's perfect. It's
I
perfect in
want
every
one. I want
way.
two, in
Huh?
fact. I want two facing each other so I can pretend they're having a battle.
Yeah, dude, I definitely want to. That's brilliant, freaking ceiling man. I would have five, but you're right. Um, it's funny.
Mm.
Go ahead.
Sometimes you meet someone and you know from the first moment that you want to spend your whole life without them.
Yep,
That is
that is true.
true statement right
Very
there. You're like,
true.
oh well,
Very
I'd like
true.
to be away from you. Yeah.
Yes, yes. I do not like you. Let's see here. I don't get this one, so let a younger person read it.
I legitimately just witnessed at a bar a guy walk up to a girl and use the line, "So do you play any Roblox?" And it worked. The girl said yes, and they've been talking for 20 minutes now.
Don't do that. Don't give me
Don't do
hope.
that. Don't give me hope.
Roblox is some
Ah,
kind of game I don't know about, I'm guess.
it is, yes. It's a
Yeah.
very popular game among younger people. But this, see, now you just reminded me of Endgame, Chester. Now you just reminded me of Endgame, and the trauma instantly comes back.
I'm sorry.
Because as much as I loved him as Ronin, that little bit we got to see of it, this line, the farther away from it I get, the more I hate it because it's so Hollywood. It's
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
Hollywood, and I'm just like, ah, man,
Yeah, but his face is kind of like, "Oh, come on."
oh
Yeah.
come on, man.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. Them, what life code do you live by? Me.
Asked an EOD guy once about the stress of bomb defusing. He shrugged and said, "It's not. I'm either right or suddenly it's not my problem anymore."
That's right. That is a truthful statement. That is truth. That is truth. A pirate walked into a bar, and the bartender said, "Hey, I haven't seen you in a while. What happened? You look terrible." "What do you mean?" said the pirate. "I feel fine." Bartender, what about the wooden leg? You didn't have that before. Pirate says, "Well, we were in a battle, and I got hit with a cannonball, but I'm fine now." Bartender says, "Oh, okay. But what about that hook? What happened to your hand?" Pirate says, "We were in another battle. I boarded a ship and got into a sword fight. My hand was cut off. I got fitted with a hook. I'm fine, really." Bartender says, "What about the eye patch?" Pirate says, "Oh, one day we were at sea and a flock of birds flew over. I looked up and one of them shit in my eye." Bartender says, "You're kidding! You lost an eye just from from bird shit?" Pirate says, "It was my first day with the hook." Ooh, ooh,
Ouch.
ooh. That's harsh.
Ouch.
This one's funny.
I think a lot about how puffins live in holes, and they look like they're kind of embarrassed about
They
it.
do. He is. He is embarrassed. Like, what is my life? It's fair enough. This one, I'm going to end on this one. This is just a video. Just watch. Got him.
That is a determined puss.
Yes, he got him. Yeah, here we go again. You got to get him. Gotcha. Okay, free meal.
Got him some dinner.
Got him some dinner, dude. Good kitty. Good. Oh, this one's funny too, but you just look at it. It's so true, dude. It's so true. You ever ride a motorcycle?
I've ridden one. I've never driven one.
Oh, I see. I've I grew up more with motorcycles than cars when I was younger, and
Mm.
I did ride them for a long time. I haven't been on a motorcycle in forever, though. I've been wanting to get another one. I was thinking about getting a cafe racer or something, but there's a new Triumph that looks really nice. But whatever. Motorcycles are fun. If you have a chance to get even a beater, just go enjoy it. They're fun.
Yeah,
Sunny day toy is what it is, right?
pretty
Sunny
much.
day toy. Anyway, there you go. I thought it'd be fun to have a little bit of memes of the day. I was going to do this things like memes of the day, day, day. Give me some sparkly signs, Thunder. Go ahead. Some sounds. Go ahead. Day, 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 day. You're not helping.
My thing's not picking it up.
Something like that, right? Okay. But anyway, let's move on to first thing, of course. And today we're going to talk about board games, as usual. And I'm not sure if I
Well,
talked about
you
Land.
do that real quick. I'm gonna let my dog.
There you go.
Anything now.
Perfect. Because I need to go on my thing. I'm not sure if I talked about Lancaster directly before. We've been doing this for quite a while, but I'm going to talk about it again, nevertheless. Now, I have this one here. I have the big box Lancaster. You don't have to get this. You can get the cheaper, just the base game thing, but this does have the two expansions in it. It's from Queen's Game, Queen Game, sorry. And the it's a really it's probably my favorite resource collection game. I really enjoy it because, like many of the European games, you are collecting resources, wood and various things like that, to try to build things and do other things. But in this game, it also has a political aspect to it. So it is quite a bit of fun. It's a good hour and a half, I guess, to play the game, and I enjoy it. My wife is fine with it. I don't think it's her favorite, but she'll sit and play it though. She doesn't like give me a groan when I bring it on the table. So there you go. But you basically have an area of Lancaster, and if you know anything about the War of the Roses, then you'll understand a little bit of who the Lancasters are. But I'm not going to get into a historical dump on that. But basically, you got your little board here, your little chart and your resource collection, and you're going about trying to up your political gain and build better armies and stuff like that. And you can see a better image of the armies. There are these little blocks, and you have military person, knights, and things like that are moving around the place, trying to take land and control areas. This is very, it doesn't have the title on it, but it definitely is a War of the Roses type of game. It has that feeling in it. I don't know exactly why I like this one more than others. I mean, I've probably got 100 resource collection games. But I just really enjoy this one for some reason. Maybe because a little of the extra political aspect and the fact that you can level up your pieces. You see, you have little short ones here that are ones, and then the twos and threes and the fours, their blocks are actually taller. It's kind of neat. There's a couple other games that do where you can build a stack on top of tokens or coins or blocks and make them stronger and stronger. And those are always fun, I guess. But this is a fun little game. It doesn't take that long. Like I said, good hour and a half game. You can play up to four, I think. I usually just play it two, my wife and I. And it's just fun. It's a simple European-based game. It's definitely not the American stuff, but if you enjoy those kind of resource collection games, I suggest you try check it out. And like I said, the this one right here is a bit pricey, but like I said, it has got expansions in it. There's a base game version from Queen that's not that expensive. So I suggest you try it out. Brett says Lancaster always pays his debts. Fair enough. But yeah, no, if you guys haven't studied anything about the War of the Roses, it is quite interesting what happened during that bit of history and all the fighting that came out of it. Of course, we ended up with the Tudors in charge because of it, right? That's where the Tudor family, Henry VIII, all those guys, Elizabeth the First. That's where they all came from. Was out of the War of the Roses. So it is an interesting little bit of politic that was going on in Britain, and of course there was a lot of those little battles and fighting as well. Some really good battles. Matter of fact, some time ago, there's a guy on the YouTube. I can't remember his name offhand, but what he does is he will look at great battles throughout history, and he'll actually diagram them in an animation by showing you how the battles happened. And he did a War of the Roses one where he showed off of three or four of the battles, big battles in that political event. That might be an interesting start. But if you do enjoy history, that is an interesting point. And I like the game. It's pretty. It's got nice bulky pieces, so try it out. Alrighty, let's move on here to today's first. Now, these from a couple of our people in Discord, Somali and someone else was also on it. But I thought this was interesting. Are you back yet, Thundero? Not yet. So I just thought this was funny. I think this is from Somali. I'm not sure. But this is a New York Post. Museum pays artist $84,000. He delivers two blank canvases titled "Take the Money and Run." I think this really happened. I think it legitimately happened. Is that funny or is that illegal? I don't know. But if you give an open commission, then I guess I don't know. This is from a Danish museum had this happen to him, and yeah, I don't know. But to be honest with you, a lot of the modern art is, a blank canvas would be better. And I've seen, these praised multi-million dollar pieces that are literally just someone painted the canvas blue. I mean, it's kind of ridiculous, but what they call modern art. But I guess it's a culture thing, and it doesn't really matter to us. Let them enjoy their hobby, I guess. But it's funny. It's definitely funny. This right here, I put this is another one suggested in the Discord. And if you guys are interested in us talking about anything, go to the Discord, which when Thundero comes back, he'll put the link in the chat. Go over to the Discord. You can interact. You can leave ideas for us to talk about. You can also join us here and have your voice heard or have a chat. I mean, we're just having some fun goofing on stuff, right? If you want to come in and have a chat with us, please do, man. We'd love to have you. But right here, I don't know if you guys are paying attention. Honestly, I don't think it even matters. But we just got a new prime minister here in Japan. Same party, nothing's changed, and they've been in charge literally since after the war. I think there was twice that another party won, and they failed like spectacular level of failure. And that kind of conservative party, which is called the Liberal Party, but it's more of a traditional sense of what that word means. They've basically been in charge since the war. And we had Abe, and then we had the his number one guy, and he turned out to be very very bad as a number one guy. He's better as a number two guy. He was really good as being the number two, but he wasn't a good leader. The new guy, have no clue whether he's going to be any use or not. But keep in mind, it doesn't really matter because the party has not changed in decades and decades. So he's just the face of the thing, right? But interesting little point. It seems that he is his name is Kushida, and he seems to be a Demon Slayer fan. And he also talking about he wants to promote anime and manga and see them become more successful and and become a more lucrative industry. I don't know why that matters, but rock on, because I think in the industries in Japan, manga is the least worried about failing. I mean, when you have a single issue of Demon Slayer, a single issue, not the
Yeah,
years run, not a compilation, right? Just a single issue outsells the entirety of frickin' Marvel. Yeah, I don't think they have a problem, Thunder.
no, they're doing swell.
They're doing swell, but whatever.
Um, yeah, I saw that this new PM, new Prime Minister, apparently is a big Demon Slayer fan, which is interesting.
Yes.
See, man, it's weird because Demon Slayer, I don't know what it is. I just I've from what I've seen of it, it just doesn't interest me at all. But it's just blowing up. Whatever, I'm happy for it, but it
Yeah.
just I
Yeah.
don't know. It
No
doesn't do
problem.
it for me. The art style doesn't grab me.
Yeah, no, no. This is Anime Senpai. This is some American or European that has an anime manga website, which is fine. But you could, I know automatically this is not a Japanese person doing an English website because Fumio is going to be the 100th president of Japan. They don't have presidents here, brother. This is a parliamentary situation. But yeah, no, no, I didn't think this was anything. I just this was put up by one of our people in Discord, and why not? You know, and we'll have to wait and see is he interesting or not. But you got to understand. Well, you don't have to understand anything, but I have to understand, I guess. Um, Here in Japan, politics is very different than in America, right? In America, they're always about, look at me, look what I did. I just added a 20th law to something that we didn't need it because I can point out and say, look what I did, vote for me again. That's America. So they're always noisy, the squeaky wheel gets the grease type of thinking. Here in Japan, the politicians don't want the public looking at them at all. They keep a very low profile. They make no noise whatsoever. They want to live in the shadow. That's how they act here. So the presidents in Japan are usually, or prime ministers, sorry, are usually considered feckless by the public, and that's exactly how they want to be perceived. So I don't know that we'll get anything out of Fumio at all. I mean, more than likely. I just hope he's not boring. Like, my God, Abe was so boring. He's not as boring as She over in China. That guy looks like he's sleeping with his eyes open. But you know, don't let him trick you though, Thundero. That guy have you hung.
Yeah.
He's a
Or
dangerous
run
fellow.
over by a bus, or whatever,
Something
whatever
like that.
works.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, thank you guys very much for your suggestions. Like I said, please go over to Discord and throw them in there, man. We're happy to talk about it. So let's get into my choices for today. Huh.
Rumor Warner Brothers will release David Ayer's cut of Suicide Squad to HBO Max in 2022.
This is a trend. Have you noticed?
It's what it's a marketing ploy.
It
Yeah,
is.
I've noticed that.
Yeah. 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 No, it definitely is. There's a lot of someone director's cut, right? And all right, whatever. I will admit that Schneider's cut of the Justice League was better than the Justice League, but it still sucked, right?
Yeah.
And this is maybe better than the Suicide Squad, but it's still gonna suck because the premise is stupid, right? It's not what the Suicide Squad should be. This new movie we had, until Starro came into it, spoilers, it was what they should be dealing with, dictators or drug lords or street level stuff, human level stuff. That's perfect. That's what they are. But this first movie, they were dealing with a goddess. So, you know, it's dumb.
Oh, goddess.
A goddess, yeah. But I don't really care. It's not going to improve it getting David Ayer's cut at all. Because it's a dumb movie. But what is you're right. It is marketing. But do you think they're going to have success of all of these director cuts that they're threatening us with right now?
No. They're not going to have success again in the movie industry until they either figure out a way to make streaming more profitable to make movies with, or, which is probably not going to happen, or they start making such high quality pieces of cinema that actually draws people to come see them. Because yeah, COVID is obviously not helping matters, but there is a lot of stuff causing people to not want to go
Yeah,
see
yeah,
these movies.
yeah.
And I think COVID is a small portion of that formula.
It
And the other
is.
part of it is they're just crap. Like they just keep just funneling out this garbage year after year after year after year of just sequels and reboots that are crap, that have
Yeah,
stupid politics in them, or sometimes they're just crap, period. That they market like they're supposed to anger you. Like, I don't know where they get this idea that outrage marketing works, but it clearly doesn't work.
right.
Because maybe it did for a time, but that time is long gone. People now are to the point where they know what you're doing, and they're just like, I don't care. Like the perfect example is the new James Bond movie, which
Yeah.
by all accounts is mostly just a James Bond movie, but a longer one.
Well,
And
because they went back and did reshoots.
yeah, well, yes, but they marketed it originally as like girl power version of James
Yeah,
Bond or something, some ridiculous nonsense, and everybody was like, no, thank you, no, that's stupid." So they went back and did reshoots,
reshoots.
and from what I understand, the movie is basically just a James Bond movie. It's not great, it's not bad, but it's
Yeah,
kind of like most of Daniel Craig's James Bond movies. It
yeah.
just kind of is.
It is, yeah. Which, makes sense to me. But because, you've certainly been saying this, and I've been agreeing, that we're starting to see a slight shift because they're realizing, yeah, we're losing money here, dude.
Yeah,
And then that's what happened with the thing. To be fair, though, I'm not going to knock on Daniel Craig whatsoever. The guy took it very seriously. He tried very hard. But I'm not interested in Daniel Craig's Bond.
yeah,
Casino Royale was awesome. I enjoyed it because of Mads Mikkelsen and
yeah.
Craig Ferguson. My God,
Craig Ferguson.
that's a different conversation.
Now
Craig
that would
Daniel.
be a great James Bond.
That
Craig
would be,
Ferguson.
yeah. But this guy, Daniel Craig, sorry, he's okay. But I was watching the Drinker's review on it, which I do like. The Critical Drinker, he's funny.
Yeah.
But I think he put the perfect point on Daniel Craig Bond. It's the born identity forced into a tuxedo.
Yes,
Yeah,
he's correct.
he's correct.
And it
Um,
always has been since day
yeah,
one. That's what casino. That's why they made Casino Royale the way they did. They wanted to take away a bunch of the camp from James Bond, which is fine. Except
eh.
the camp is where a lot of the fun is.
Yeah, that's where the fun is. Yeah, I miss it.
Yeah,
I've seen all the Bond movies. I probably like Sean Connery's best, I guess. Although
yeah.
more, I enjoyed his movies too. Even old Remington Steele there. I enjoyed Pierce Brosnan's as well. Timothy Dalton's wasn't horrible, but he wasn't proper for Bond. But they're camp, they're funny, they're goofy. Q has these weird gadgets. It's part of the fun. It's surreal. It's not
Yeah.
realistic, and it's freaking Christopher Nolan's fault and his stupid ass Batman shit. But it misses all the fun and color of it. Why is Q a young guy? It's better he's an old doddery guy. It's funnier, dude.
Well,
It's
it's
more.
better. It also gives like a foil in a way, like not in a negative way, but just a little bit of a foil to James's BS, right?
Hmm.
Because Q was always calling him on it, was
Yep,
always on him about it. He didn't have time for it,
that's right.
and he wasn't charmed by him at all.
No,
And that was perfect.
it was
But when
beautiful.
it's a younger guy, it has a different there's a different dynamic there. Whereas an older guy, you kind of expect an older, wiser man to just not have time for this
Oh, he's
young whippersnapper.
and the young whippersnapper's gay now, by the way.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's always good. But whatever. But Moneypenny and of course the boss over there. But the biggest thing that's missing from the Bond movies, the biggest thing, are the villains. Over the
Yeah.
top, literal
Ridiculous. There's literally a
villains.
trope called
Literally,
a Bond villain.
yeah.
Where are they in the
Where are
Bond
they?
movies?
I love
I
Mads
want a
Mikkelsen,
Bond
but
villain. I
it's
want
not a
a
Bond villain.
ridiculous, over the top villain who cackles maniacally
Yeah,
and
yeah,
thinks he is beyond everything, like a super narcissist megalomaniac is what Bond's villains need to be. Bond
right.
villains need to be. And we just haven't had any really.
No, not in
Even
this great.
Blofeld wasn't really like that. They tried to take Blofeld from being that into a more personal enemy nemesis to James Bond. I'm like,
No, dude.
no,
No,
you're missing the
no.
whole point of Blofeld.
You are. And I didn't bring up the Bond story, but it fits into this kind of recuts because clearly the
Yeah,
new Bond movie was reshot. But No, the villains are important, and they're think about it. I don't remember any of these weird European names of these villains they have in these Daniel Craig movies. Whereas I
yeah,
certainly remember Doctor No or
yes,
Goldfinger, right? Another thing we've gotten rid of is really quirky and dumbass Bond lady names like Pussy Galore. Bring
yeah.
that shit back, baby.
Or what was the one? One was something Christmas
Something.
in one of them. Yeah, I can't
Oh
remember her
yeah,
first
yeah.
name.
Christmas comes more than once a year.
Yeah,
Yeah, that
yeah,
actually. Yeah, yeah, yeah. But
so bad.
There was one called Goodhead, and
Yep.
it's tongue in cheek, man. It's supposed to be funny. It's British style humor, and
Yes.
they've made it real because it's like the Bourne Identity. And I like Matt Damon's well enough. His those movies are fun, but that's not Bond, dude. Bond is
No.
classy and it's stylish and it's
The
funny.
sad thing is the movies that have become the Bond movies to some degree are the Fast and Furious franchise. Like those are much more like Bond movies with the ridiculous
Yeah,
over the
yeah,
top nonsense that
yes,
happens.
that's right.
It's what happened. How did we go from how did a movie about stealing and racing cars go become a modern take on a James Bond style with James Bond like villains and James Bond became boring.
Yeah.
What the hell
Yeah,
happened here?
I know it's weird, right? It is weird, but hey, whatever. They understand. The Fast and Furious guys understand that it's what sells, right? It's just fun. It's entertainment. Damn it. Let's see. Roger says, what you guys said that this Bond movie was going to be was. that this bond was a passing off of the torch to a black woman. That was the intention in the initially. Clearly, that's what they wanted to do. And but they went back and dialed it down. And if you go watch a couple of reviews, I like The Drinker, but you can watch anybody you want. I've watched a couple. It's clear that that's exactly what happened because there are scenes where she's just being an absolute bitch to him, and then there's other scenes where she's showing respect to him, and they don't meld, right, because they were reshot that way. So in the initial movie he was probably put in his place quite a bit.
Yeah,
But then they realized that they already spent way too much money on this movie. They were going to lose just insane amounts, so they went back and tried to fix it. I don't
get
know if
back real
that's
quick.
going to help though. I don't know, but whatever. Billy Elliot should be the next Bond. Solve everything. Uh, dude, Bill, I love that movie, Billy Elliot. Though, have you ever seen that? It's a pretty good movie, dude. No, never watched Billy Elliot. There, Thundero. Think I've lost Thundero. Oh well. Let's move on then. Interesting conversation though, and kind of wanted him for this one particularly. Let me see what's going on here on the other side. He's still there. He's just muted. Maybe he had some issue to deal with. Anyway, I'll do the introductions here. Friday the 13th screenwriter secures victory in copyright termination case, definitively wins back series rights and ownership. All right, so the Friday the 13th series is going back to the creator. Okay, cool. I don't know what kind of life is left in the series. We had what 10 movies that were very the first movie was its standalone thing. It was actually a very good movie. The other ones are just kind of campy slasher movies, which are fun. And then they tried to reboot, which was dumb. It was just like the Evil Dead reboot was dumb. It was like, dude, you don't get the point at all. You don't get it. You don't understand it. Stop it. Stop. But this has got it back. I just don't know. Is there any life in it? Are you guys going to go see another Friday the 13th just because the original writer has it again? I don't know. We got Jiminy Cricket in here. He says, "Lol, Billy Elliot, Elliot, dude, I like that movie." He says, "Roger Heller, of course not. Just Daniel Craig's last. It is his last." Will we see another Bond? I don't know. I kind of think people are over Bond altogether, to be honest with you. Especially, they should have leaned into it more than what they went into this realistic stuff. If you remember, we had Uma Thurman and others in the Avengers movie, the British, spy series, Avenger movie, and that leaned into it, and it was funny. It wasn't a great movie though, but they should be leaning into it. But this is Christopher Nolan, guys. Christopher Nolan came out and he said, I'm going to make Batman realistic," and it was like, okay, uh huh. The first movie was eh. Second movie was only good because of Heath Ledger, and the third movie was a freaking train wreck. Once again, Tom Hardy, who's a really good actor, someone didn't come in and say, "Mr. Hardy, Bane is this," right? Because if you haven't noticed, he actually was sitting there. He's promoting the whole Latinx thing now as well, because Bane is South American, right? But whatever. Lady Celtic Moon says, "Ooh, President Biden is a villain type, right?" Yes, he is. He definitely is. But okay, so the question on the board here is: even though the original writer has Friday the 13th back, are you even interested in any more of it? I suppose if it's a fun, a good fun movie, then okay, it doesn't matter how long it's been around, right? But it is interesting, and I put this in comparison to this right here. Halloween Kills, which is the new Halloween movie, it is just coming out. I don't know if it's out yet or it's good. I mean, it's October, it must be out, or it's coming out here very, very, very shortly. And But the producer says that Michael Myers will never cross over with competing slasher icons. Well, first of all, never say never. This is kind of a rule that you learn when you're like, I don't know, an elementary school kid, right? So what are you doing? That you shouldn't say dumb things like that. But beyond that, what by seeing some of the interviews and stuff, it seems like this is more about the last movie in this one is more about Jamie Lee Curtis's character finding her power and taking back her strength, and it's very much a female centered life affirmation type of film is what it sounds like, which in and of itself isn't a problem. But it is a Halloween movie, dude. Michael Myers is just he kills. I mean, the thing about some killers, they have reasons, right? Freddy, he wants souls, and he's a pervert. I mean, all the slashers have their purposes, but Michael Myers doesn't have any, does he? I mean, he is just a killer. He just kills because, right?
He's evil.
Because he's just pure evil, as Dr. Loomis said. But if you're trying to make it into something poetic or something deeper, as it sounds like what they're doing with the last one in this movie, with the kind of female affirmation, you're missing the point, dude. It's
Yep,
not the point, right?
correct.
I mean, he Michael just kills. Jason, don't have sex around Jason. He doesn't like it.
Not a fan of it.
He's not a fan.
He's very much against the sexual intercourse. He's not a fan.
He ain't. He's not. So you can live pretty good around Jason. Just keep the coitus on for vacations. Yeah. But you see what the point I'm trying to make, though, Thundero.
Yeah,
I think the evil. I mentioned it just here a minute ago when you were off, but Evil Dead, I think, is a perfect example. They did a remake with a female lead, of course. Of course, it has to be female lead. But that nonsense and stupidity aside, it was trying to be serious. And I'm asking myself, did you morons even watch the original movies? Did you watch them at all? Right? I mean, the Bruce Campbell, the mighty chin himself, full tongue in cheek. Some of the most fun movies, horror comedy movies ever made, and you're going to try to make it this serious thing? It's like, dude, get a grip, brother. You know what I mean?
yes. It's uh, it's dumb. It's kind of the whole kind of like with James Bond. They tried to make James Bond too serious. They
Yep.
tried to tone him down too much. And again, the Daniel Craig movies aren't terrible. They're fine for what they are. But aside from like the first one, which at least he had the swagger, and Skyfall, which I think was just a good movie, uh, the other ones have just kind of been like meh. They've been lackluster at best, right?
They're well
And that's
made.
because they've lost their the whole plot of it. The
Yeah.
whole what's the word I'm looking for? The whole
The twinkle in the
seasoning.
eye.
Yeah, the glimmer, the thing that makes it special
Yeah.
about James Bond isn't really, I'm going to say something that sounds blasphemous, but hang on, it isn't really his masculinity and his ridiculous, that the archetype of James Bond. It's the fact that that character is in such a ridiculous world. That's what's
Yes.
special about James Bond. That's why it works. It kind of like Austin Powers, right? The Austin Powers movies is kind of a spoof on that character,
It most
also in a
certainly is.
ridiculous world.
Yeah. That's
That's
the
why
point.
that works
That's why
because
the
it's
parody is funny.
ridiculous.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
and they've lost the plot, just like they forgot how to market things. They've just all at once forgotten how to do good marketing. They've all forgotten how to keep a tone in a movie consistent and straightforward as an overarching narrative from a perspective.
Yeah.
So when you go into a James Bond movie, nobody's going into a James Bond movie looking for deep philosophical things.
No.
Right? We're going to a
God,
James
no.
Bond movie because they're
But
fun.
I mean, these people that came out, and it cost them money because they had to go back and reshoot it to try to save themselves. This stupidity of attacking Bond is like he's a misogynist. It's like, dude, that's the fucking joke, dumbass.
Yes,
Why do you
that's the
think
point.
the girl he's having sex with, her name is Pussy Galore? Fuck you, dude. Don't you get it? He's a middle-aged dude walking around sleeping with any lady left and right. It's the joke. It's the
Yeah.
freaking point. God damn it, Thundero.
They're
Stupidity.
they're I called them a long time ago. I called them linguistic autists because they just don't get actual like nuance, like the actual version of it. They don't understand subtlety or in this case, what would be the reverse of subtlety. They just don't get that. If you're not literal all the time, their brain just can't handle
Yeah.
anything other than perfect literality at all times.
But I
And
mean,
that's why they don't understand James Bond. That's why they
yeah,
attack James Bond as if he's some sort of negative force in society,
yeah.
when in reality, he's an outlet for the negative force that they're afraid of.
Yeah, it's
But
a
they don't get that.
joke. It's
Yeah.
that's the humor of it. That he's always getting these ladies. I mean, sure, Sean Connery, is a fine-looking guy. Women tend to like him. But think about Bond in its totality, right? He's not this sex magnet thing. It's the joke is that he's always getting the lady. That's kind of the point, and that's why they give these women outrageous names. It's poking fun at it. It's poking fun at that culture, that bohemian culture is what it's doing, right?
Yes.
Well, whatever. People are dumb, dude. Alan says, "What if Tarantino did Jason?" Dude, I wouldn't mind seeing Tarantino take because he seems to want to do weird stuff now. Let him. Let him. Who knows, right? I
Could
mean,
be
I'm not.
interesting.
What do you say?
Could be interesting.
Could be. I mean, I'm not the biggest Tarantino fan, but he is a good filmmaker. He knows
You know what
exactly
he
what
wants
he's
to do?
doing. Yeah.
You know what he wants to do?
Who
Star
what?
Trek.
No, I know he does. And that's what I'm saying. Let him.
Let's see
Why
it.
the fuck not,
It
dude?
literally cannot be any worse. It's
No.
not possible for it to be worse than what we've gotten. So why not? Why not?
But I would love to
Because
see
at
a
least Tarantino understands how to direct dialogue. Now, some of his
he does.
dialogue is very Tarantino-esque, but at least he knows how to direct it. And then maybe we can get a Star Trek movie with a little bit of intelligence behind it again, instead of just generic space action movies that we've gotten for the last, I don't know, 10 years now.
Right. Well, I mean, imagine him hooking back up with Kurt Russell. Doing a slasher movie where Kurt is heading up a team dealing with, whatever the setting is, dealing with this slasher, murderous, demonic thing like, say, Jason. And letting Tarantino do the Tarantino thing. Dude, I'd
Yeah.
probably appreciate that more than I do some of his movies because he's over the top. I mean, he is. But in a horror
Yeah.
movie, that's what you want.
You can be over the top. It's
Yeah,
fine. Um, I think Tarantino, as weird as the man is, and he is a weird man,
he is. Yeah,
is too good of a director to be wasted on his own shtick forever. And a
yeah,
lot of really
yeah,
great directors get caught in that, and they
yeah,
never get out. A great example is Alfred Hitchcock. He
yeah.
was stuck in the genre that he was in. Even if he had wanted to get out, I don't think he would have succeeded,
No,
because that's what people wanted from him, and that's what they expected. Um, not every director can bounce out of making this specific, their type of movie and make it well. It's pretty rare, actually, but I think
yeah.
Tarantino could probably do it,
I think he could.
just because his style is simplistically brilliant when he does it well, because it's very much character driven, and it's not typically like big set piece driven or any of that stuff. It's
No,
just about
it's
using
intimate.
characters well.
Yeah,
Yeah, and there you go, intimate. That's a great word. So he could easily do a horror movie. He could do a proper Star Trek movie. I think he really could,
I think he
because he
could
would
too.
understand that the reason why Star Trek was successful is because the characters made it successful. That's what did it. It was the fact, Kirk was such an interesting character, especially for his time. He was basically a pirate, right? He was a swashbuckling captain out here solving problems like a swashbuckler would, right? Like
Yeah,
ridiculous, over the top camp. But then you go to Picard, who's far more serious, right? Much more cerebral. But again, he's what drives the show. It's the characters that him and Data and the others drive the show more than anything else, not so much the setting.
you're
And
right.
that's something I think Tarantino would get. He'd also get it with horror. That, yeah, horror is a genre and it's important, but it's the genre. It's the background. If your characters aren't interesting, no one cares. And that's why horror movies suck now, because the characters are all bland cookie cutter, and then you end up with shock value with jump scares. That's all you get in horror nowadays. At least the last few horror movies I've watched. Whereas the older ones, even these ones from the 80s, they at least had compelling characters insofar as like the main bad guys. Why do you think they made so many Jason movies? Because they make money. That's
Yeah, they
why
do.
they made money, because
Simple.
he was compelling.
Well, horror is the cheapest, simplest way to make money.
Yep.
That's why there's so many of them. But I also agree with Alan. Robert Rodriguez can can do a lot of things. I like his movies quite a bit. He's got a good style. You mentioned Alfred Hitchcock. Just I understand your point, and you're correct. However, Alfred was perfect at what he did, dude.
Correct.
He was really good at it, and I love the Alfred Hitchcock Presents. I don't know if you younger people got to see it, but his little he always showed up in he kind of was like the crypt keeper, right? And they might have got the idea of the crypt keeper from Alfred Hitchcock Presents. But he'd do these little things where he come and talk, presenting the episode, right? And he was so creepy in the perfect, proper British way, right? It was just funny. I like Alfred Hitchcock. Anyway, let's move on here. Torture porn. You talk about Saw, but that's a completely different thing, isn't it? But all right, whatever, whatever. These reboots and these horror things. We'll see how it goes. But anyway, let's move on here. Interesting little thing from Razorfist. This isn't Razorfist himself, but he did a little show, and they're talking about it here. Go ahead.
It's funny because Razorfist blocked me on Twitter a long time ago, and I have absolutely no idea why, because I don't think I ever had an interaction with him that wasn't just me liking a post of his.
Uh-huh.
No idea. But regardless, YouTuber Razorfist calls on people to reject modernity and modern day Marvel and DC superheroes in favor of pulp heroism. Yes, please.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, and if you spend any time watching Razor Fist, and I enjoy his content, his metal mythos, his video game
Yeah.
stuff, and his political commentary. Razor Fist is over on the Rageaholic, is where you can find his YouTube. But he's radically articulate, and he's very vulgar, much more vulgar than we are.
Yeah.
However, uh, someone his rapacious wit and his
Ooh.
ability to just enunciate and intonate English in such a spectacular way. He's a rare beast. He's very rare. You don't see a lot of humans that are that capable with the language that they speak.
Yeah.
And Razor's Fist is definitely that. And it's all wrapped up into this little scrawny, headbanger body. I don't know how, but that's what it is. He is an enigma of enigmas, right? He shouldn't be what he is, but he is. Nevertheless, he's right though. And
Yeah.
if you watch his show, then he's a huge fan of crime noir and the old pulp fiction, the actual pulp heroism stuff. He does love it, and I don't disagree. Thundero doesn't seem to either. So what I thought we'd do, Thundero, instead of just kind of getting into Razorfish's opinion, why don't we take a look at some of the top 10 old pulp heroes that no one talks much about anymore at all? What do
Love
you
it.
say? All right. This is Pulp Magazine Heroes by Jerry Whitworth from the comic art community. I don't care about the introduction. I just want to talk about the characters. So number 10.
Sorry, I'm eating an apple.
Oh, sorry.
Uh, Kazar. Is that how you say it?
Kazar.
Kazar or Kazar? How do you say that?
Kazar.
Kazar?
Tarzan, basically, right?
Yeah.
And I have read Kazar, and I've seen it done in modern times as well. It's not my favorite. Of course, it is number 10 here. I'd much prefer Tarzan itself. But it was a very popular comic book. Now, the thing is, I don't know how to juxtapose Kazar to Tarzan itself. I don't. This is coming in the veins of the Jungle Book, I guess is what this is taken on. But I don't know which was first. I apologize for not being up on my Tarzan lore. But I feel like Tarzan would be older, but maybe he's not, right? Kazar
Yeah.
might be older. I don't know. Someone help me out if you know. But this isn't my favorite choice on the list, but it was a popular character, and that's what this article is talking about. What were popular back in those early pulp comic days, back when comics were becoming a thing, right? When comic books were being born. And of course, this was also in the age of the radio. And it's hard for us to understand with all this modern media and TV and internet and all that stuff like that. But TV and the internet still has not got to the level of use that radio was. That's shocking, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, everybody had a radio. And it's not true about TV or internet, and not everybody does. That's a very interesting thing. So when we talk about the popularity of these characters, they were enormously huge, right? Hundreds of millions of people interacting with these characters around the world, it is interesting. But these, of course, are early comic books that we're talking about America here. Anyway, number two, the spider. I love the art here. The spider is, interesting character. I've never read a spider book though. Have you?
I've not. I've heard of him.
Yeah. See, I've read Kazar, but I've never read the spider. But it says he's a millionaire playboy, Richard Wentworth. Of course, aren't they all? With his fiancee Nita Van Sloon and their servants staged a bloody war on crime. Okay. So he's Batman.
Yeah.
Fair
Yeah,
enough.
there's a lot of that. Batman was kind of the winner of the pulp heroes, and then he merged into just being a full on superhero.
Yeah, no, you're right. That's exactly what he is here. But I've never read Spider. I wonder if you guys have. But number 8 here, Black Bat. I don't know this character either. I've heard of him, but I've never read it. However, this I have read a shit ton of.
Oh yeah, Phantom.
The Phantom.
The
Now
Phantom, the Phantom, the Phantom. The Phantom deserves a comeback, a proper one.
he does, and the problem is, what did they changed the name? What did they start calling the Phantom? I
Ooh,
ca- They changed his name. I can't remember, dude. I can't remember. The problem is I haven't read this stuff in a long time. But Razorfist is right. We should read more of it because not only the story's better than what we're getting today, some of that art is incredible, dude. I mean, really, really. You got to keep in mind this is back. We're talking about Ed Eisner type of. Is that right? Yeah, type of era, and the level of art and the detail and the work ethic of these people was impressive. But the original Phantom, this is not the purple guy. This is which is why they changed the name because the purple guy is the Phantom, but this is the original guy. And once again, he's very much like the rest of them. He's just kind of a detective. They even say here a sleuth who's going out there and fighting crime, because the superhero thing was just starting to be built up. Thundero. I mean, we had John Carter had super abilities. The Shadow had some super abilities, but it was something that was growing at the time and eventually became Superman, and the superheroes grew out of that, right? But I've read the Phantom. The Avenger is another one I've read, and they've done some stuff with this one in the modern day. Domino Lady. I know this one, but I've never read it. You?
now I never even heard of it.
Yeah, I've certainly heard of it, but I haven't read any of this. Sounds like she uses her sex appeal. Oh my God, don't do that. You're not allowed to do that, ladies. Don't use the powers God gave you. No, don't do that.
Can't be
Uh,
having that.
yeah, can't have
There he
that.
is.
There he is.
Good old Buck Rogers. We
I've
could use
read
some Buck Rogers.
everything from Buck Rogers, and I enjoyed the
Yeah.
show too. The show is probably why I read Buck Rogers, I would assume. But I've read a lot of this. I prefer Buck over Flash Gordon any day.
Yeah, I agree with you. Yeah.
Yeah.
One, Flash Gordon's a ridiculous name, and Buck Rogers is just the right amount of camp.
It is. It is. Yeah.
Just the right amount.
I just, but
No, Buck needs a renaissance. Someone needs to bring him back. I don't. Does anybody even own Buck Rogers right now? It
well,
could be. Let's see. Let me look
Dynamite's
that up.
doing comics by it.
Yeah, but it could just be in public domain.
It probably is. Yeah, the original Buck Rogers anyway. The original, I'm sure it is. Yeah. Yeah, no, Buck Rogers. I'm not knocking on Flash Gordon at all. I've read a little bit of Flash, like a book. And that was a book. It was a short story, not a comic book. But and I enjoyed the old serials though. The black and whites, those are funny. Those are definitely camp. But I just prefer Buck Rogers is all. Uh,
Apparently, there is Buck Rogers' estate Apparently, there's a bunch of people who are claiming they actually have ownership rights to it. So there's a big legal battle that's been going on for years. And Legendary Pictures has been trying to do a Buck Rogers reboot, and they keep getting sued. So keeps getting shut down by randoms claiming they.
Uh,
I don't know. They might not be randoms. I have no idea who these people are. Claiming they own the rights to it and they're not permitted to do it.
Nah,
So
yeah, yeah, that's always a problem, right? Roger
yeah,
says Edgar Rice Burroughs and his stories in comics with Carson Napier. Is he better than Doc Savage? Well, I don't know that they're comparable. I don't know how you compare the two, but because Doc Savage is more of the model of the modern superhero, right? Other than what Burroughs had done. I don't. Can you compare them? I don't think so.
probably not.
Yeah.
Now
But it,
Zorro, of
mhm,
course, is the legend himself.
yeah,
Probably the most famous. I don't know. That might be a big Buck Rogers and Flash Gordon are up there too, but he might be the one who lasted the
I think
longest.
so. I agree. I think the Shadow
Um,
was the biggest one of the time, but Zorro is
yeah,
still with us, and Shadow isn't. Right?
and Zorro's good stuff, man. Zorro's a
I
good
loved
time.
it, dude. I've seen so many Zorro movies. I haven't read any Zorro stuff, but I've seen lots of movies. I love the Antonio Banderas stuff. Thought it was
Yep.
fun. But when I was a little kid, I went to my family. I come from my mom's family is an old swamp Yankee family.
Mhm.
They've been in America for like 400 years, right? And so they own a lot of land, and they're kind of an old established family, right? But the area I grew up in were at least because I did move around too, but I started there and ended there. Lots of rich people,
Yeah.
lot of rich people, way richer than my family. However, the elementary school I went to was a rich kid school because that's an interesting phenomenon. Outside of America, if you have money, your kids go to a private school. In America, it's not true. I mean, we do have private schools, but that's not really what happens. It's your area's school is better because of the wealth in it, right? It's
Yeah.
different, right? But I went to a very rich school, and we had a couple of opportunities from that I found out as I gotten older that other people didn't have. And one of the two of those things were every there was a fund put up that every Christmas you go into the cafeteria and they would have the all the cafeteria tables set up by class age, right? And you could go take any present you wanted off the table. And these are nice presents too. This wasn't crap. This was real good stuff, right? So that's something that other kids didn't have, I guess. And but the other thing we had was movie night. Like I think it was every Friday night in the because our cafeteria slash auditorium, right? Um, uh,
Right.
every Friday night, I think it was Friday night, we would go and they would show movies on the big screen that would pull down on the stage, and a lot of those movies were Zorro, dude, right? And loved it, loved it. Elementary school.
Yeah. Zorro is he's a classic, man. I wouldn't be against some more Zorro. See, that's what I'm saying. I think this is the kind of stuff. I wholeheartedly agree with Razorfist. I know you do too. This is the kind of stuff that needs to make a comeback in culture. Is these old pulp heroes bringing some punk, bring like steampunk, cyberpunk, whatever, pulp it up, bring me back some noir, bring that back, all that style, and it's because here's why: it's easy to make compared to these big budget, ridiculous CGI crap, are basically cartoons that we get from some studios now, and it's simple to make and people enjoy it. But the other thing is it has an insane shelf life.
Yeah,
So you make this movie, right? And let's say it doesn't do crazy at the box office, it still makes its money, but it doesn't, doesn't end game it, right? Doesn't break records. But this is a type of movie, if you do it right, that people will watch over and over and over and over and over again, and they don't have any problem with watching it in syndication, whether it's on a streaming service or whatever, or they don't have any problem with buying the buying it digitally or the discs because it's a movie they know that they're going to watch over and over and over and over again.
yeah,
Where
yeah.
a lot of these movies that are coming out now, I haven't seen a single one that I want to watch more than twice.
Or even
I haven't in
twice. Yeah.
years. Yeah, or even twice. In years, I haven't seen one that hooked me that much. The only one that did was the Joker, the Joker movie with Joaquin Phoenix. I watched that more than once.
Yeah.
But other than that, most of the like none of these superhero movies have I had this strong desire to watch again, except for the first Thor movie randomly.
Uh-huh.
Uh, I think we're at this. There's a problem here in the media, in the way these movies are being presented, and TV shows, where it's just throwaway garbage, right? It's one and done is how a lot of people watch it and how a lot of people think about it, and that's a serious problem for culturally because the movies even 20 years ago, I go back and watch the hell out of them.
Yeah.
Right? I'll go back and watch movies from the 50s all day long. I'll watch
Sure.
cowboy movies. I love them.
Sure. Cowboy movies are great. Yeah.
These new movies, they're just not. There's no meat in there. There's a lot of flash and a lot of fizzle, but there's no sizzle in that steak. You know what I mean?
Well,
There's nothing. There's
no,
nothing
it's
to
true.
hold me, get me back.
And one of the things about period films that work so well is it's out of your context. So therefore
Yes.
it's eternal in a way. But cowboy movies work that way for sure. Zorro definitely works that way. I wonder if you could guess which movie I've watched the most
Oh,
repetition of
I
watching.
I don't know. I
Con-
couldn't guess actually. What do you got?
Constantine.
Really?
Yeah.
With the freaking Keanu Reeves one.
Yeah, it's weird, isn't it? It's weird.
That is,
Uh,
but you know why it is? It's real simple because it has style.
and it's fun.
The movie style, it's got style as hell, and Keanu, when you give him the right role, is engrossing. John Wick,
Yeah.
Neo, like he's that guy. He's not a great actor. He's not going to come
No.
out here and give you an Anthony Hopkins performance. He's not even going to come out here and give you a Tobey Maguire performance. But guess what? You're still going to watch him.
Yep. Yeah. And the funny thing is, I rarely watch a movie more than once anyway. I'm not like that. But I've seen that movie a good 7, 8 times. Maybe
Yep.
7 times. But like John Wick, love those flicks. All three of them I enjoyed. The first one's certainly the best, but I enjoyed them. But I've only seen them once. Yeah.
I think I've only seen him a couple times. John Wick, I've watched the first two multiple times, just because that has those movies have the quality of they're so simple I don't have to watch them, so I can put them on and play a video game or something, right?
Yeah.
Just as background noise. That's good. And then I know that if I turn over and actually look at it for a little bit, it's going to entertain me because those movies are just nonstop entertainment.
Sure.
But I think there's a serious problem, and these heroes, this era, can fix that problem if they do it well. I think there's just something about this era that catches your imagination of the pulp era,
Yep.
the noir era, all that stuff. It's very imaginative
And super
and
stylish.
it
Super stylish.
yes, stylish, imaginative, the aesthetic of it. That's what it is. That's important.
Yeah.
One of the reasons why I know people to this day who actually still like The Force Awakens is because it felt like Star Wars. Because the aesthetic was correct. The set pieces looked good and it was sets, actual sets. All that stuff was right. JJ did a good job at
Well,
that.
JJ's
He actually
great at
brought the
making
aesthetic
things look
in.
good. He's good at
Yeah.
cinematics.
He's just not good at making things good.
No, he's a cinematographer. He's not a director. Let's see a couple things here in the chat need mentioning. Joe says Night Owl's on opinion. Opinions on what? Or opinions on opinions? Well, it's a little bit tongue in cheek. If you haven't noticed, a lot of stuff today is talking about tongue in cheek, and we're giving opinions. But I do have a section coming up here momentarily that is talking about others' opinions as well. Give me a break, Joe. I think about shit. I have plans. Yeah.
Uh-oh. And there's a boosty Kiwi.
Oh my God. Is he wearing pink today? Eric says Zorro the Gay Blade was the best Zorro.
I would wear pink.
I know you would.
Booster, it's
rock-
Cancer
I'd
Month.
rock
You're supposed to wear pink.
Is it?
Do you,
I don't
Booster?
know.
Why do you want people with cancer to die? Because you're not wearing pink.
Because I think it would be funny, to be honest.
That's fair.
Oh, okay.
That's
If they-
fair.
At least you have a good
guys,
reason.
totally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Humor's a good reason. Yeah.
Dave
Yeah.
says Conan the Barbarian with Arnold. Talk about the one he's seen the most. I've seen that a few times too, dude. That is good fun, Dave. How you doing,
Just-
Booster?
just
We're
came
talking
back-
about Zorro.
I just came back from my third viewing of Grand Budapest Hotel. That's
Oh, that is fun movie.
I don't
dude.
watch movies again and again often, but that's a special one. That's a very special
That's
one.
funny. That's literally what we're talking
That
about,
is
Booster.
what we're talking about. Yeah. What movies do you
well,
watch the
well.
most? Yeah. What movie have you seen the most?
I don't watch very many movies again and again, right? I haven't done that since I
Yeah.
was very young. Like, when I was like 10 years old and I could watch Shrek 20 times.
Sure.
I'm pretty sure that right in my brain. But these
Yeah.
days, yeah, I'll watch a movie once and then I might rewatch it 2 years down the line.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, my number one is Constantine. I've seen that more than anything else. And number two is
Really?
Star Wars. Yeah, yeah.
That's
All
what
right.
I said. I said, what?
I don't know.
If
I
that's the
love it.
movie, yeah.
I love
Yeah.
it. The the timing, the pacing in that movie is absolutely excellent. I don't know. I just love it. It isn't even Keanu himself. It's just the movie is fun. And that dude, I can't remember his name, but that dude that's portraying the devil, it is the best performance of anyone as the devil ever. It is perfect. It's exactly what the devil should be. But whatever, that's just my guilty pleasure, I guess. But we are talking about pulp heroes of the past, and Razorfist had stated he wished that people would go back more to that. And I was like, hey, well, let's take a look at him. Zorro is great. Let's take a look at number two and number three. Now, number two and number three, I don't agree with the number two and number one. Sorry, I don't agree with this. I would switch these. Doc
Oh,
Savage
definitely. Yeah.
was a huge hit. He's still cool. He is the template for modern superheroes. Without
Yeah.
question, he is. However, The Shadow was such a monumental hit. It's hard for us
Yes.
to understand. There is no other character in modern history that has had as much attention as The Shadow. It was crazy popular. And of course, this is, as we saw in many other ones, this is what Batman came out of course. What do you think, Booster? If you were going to pick a Doc Savage over the Shadow, which one would you prefer?
Well, the Shadow was the only one I vaguely know of, and I don't think I've ever seen anything of the Shadow. So
Oh, okay.
Oh, you'd like the Shadow.
Yeah,
You'd
you would
like it a
like
lot,
it.
mister.
Yeah,
If you like Batman,
think
you'd
so.
love the Shadow, bro. For real.
True. I
he's
should check him out.
he's a more intellectual Batman.
Yeah.
More intellectual than Batman.
Yeah.
Then
Come on.
Bat of the Man. Yes.
No, he is. He is. He's a much deeper
I would
character than
say,
Batman.
out of all this list, the Shadow is the one who should the Phantom and the Shadow are the two that should get the big relaunch type
Yeah.
deal.
Yeah.
But the one who should be the pulp hero is Batman. That's what I want. I want that Batman back. I want the detective Batman back. I want him to stop being a superhero and just be the greatest detective in the world again.
Yep.
That is, to me, when Batman is at his best personally, and that's what I want. I would love for Batman to have a renaissance of his pulp version of himself.
Then you should really fucking watch the cartoon movies that just recently came out. The Longest Halloween.
The part
Highly
two.
recommend.
Yeah.
Both parts, no less.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I agree. The animated stuff's pretty good. The new Batman movie, it could potentially have some of that. But I agree. I want to see Batman going and collecting evidence and just Batman by himself going after and trying to figure something out. I would like this very small, isolated
Yeah.
Batman movie is what I want.
Yes.
Not
Yes.
not Batman who could take down Superman kind of shit.
Yes. Super atmospheric. Tons of great black imagery. What I mean by that is it's
Bro,
dark imagery, meaning like when you
bro,
think of noir, you
seriously.
think of like a street light and just a dark, misty street and stuff or foggy street, stuff like that. Tons of that. Tons of like neon lighting and stuff. Like lean into it. Go crazy
Bro,
with it.
you need
Batman's
to watch The
perfect
Long
for it.
Halloween. You're
I know.
despising The
I've
Long
seen
Halloween
some of
right
the
now.
I've seen some of it, but I would love for that a much smaller story, just him trying to solve like a murder case or something.
Yeah.
Just no
Yep.
world-ending stakes, just him being the detective, and he goes out and solves it, and blah blah blah,
Yeah.
story. But I think that, like I said earlier, Batman's the one who won out of the pulp heroes, right? Because he did the successful transition from just a pulp detective hero into a superhero.
He did.
And some of the other ones did too, but they just didn't last for whatever reason.
Nope.
And I think Batman, a resurgence of pulp Batman could be huge. I think it would be huge. I think if it was done well and done right, it could be a mover, an actual needle mover. And I think it would help bring in things like a Return of the Shadow, things like a Return of the
Yeah.
Phantom,
Well,
things like a Return of Buck Rogers,
yeah,
stuff
yeah,
like
yeah.
that. that we just need that kind of that stuff that's been around forever that everybody's heard of, or at least if they haven't read it or seen it, they've heard of it. They know what it is. Insofar as they've heard the names. Um, I think Razorfist is correct. I think
Yeah,
that is where
I
the
agree.
culture needs to shift when we're looking for heroes. Is the
Well,
pulp.
just imagine the title, Batman Noir. Dude, they'd make billions.
My wife said a good example. You could get Tim Burton actually directing movies again, not just animated movies, and he would be great at it. He would be great at getting that setting just right and having it just be zany enough that it would fit he could probably do a shadow movie actually. I think that would be pretty cool.
No. I want. I think I want the Tarantino's Batman Noir.
I would love that too.
I would love that. Yeah.
Batman and Alfred keep saying the N word. Yeah, that'd be
Yeah. There you go. Fair enough.
it's
Uh,
spectacular.
fair enough. But yeah, no, I agree with that stuff. And another thing, if you haven't noticed, a lot of stuff you see with Batman outside of the
Oh,
animated,
Tarantino as Alfred. Oh my god.
that would be awesome. Yeah. But the one thing I've noticed about Batman recently is he's always in bright light. What's the last time you remember seeing Batman in the shadow? Just a side of his face lit, or just a
Yeah.
cowl in the darkness. I mean,
The
that's where he lived.
animated movie I just described several times to you people.
I said
As you guys
outside
keep
of
going,
animated.
oh,
When did that come, Booster? When did that
if
come out?
only this thing existed that I want it to exist. It does, you foolish people.
When did
Well,
that
we
come out?
have the Batman,
A
dude.
couple of months ago.
A
Long
couple months
Halloween
ago.
animation.
See, Booster. I'm just ahead of the curve, bud.
Yeah.
Ahead of the curve.
Yeah.
I think that is probably. I've been saying this for a while that I think that's the direction of the next decade culturally. It's going to be pulp. It's going to be punk. We're going to lean into those old genres that we've kind of abandoned for the last 10 years or so
Yeah.
because of the
Fucking
superhero
And
movies.
it's cheaper to make.
Oh, so cheap. You could make a really cool Batman detective story for nothing. For nothing compared to what they have to put in these movies now.
Nothing.
Nothing.
Alan has said something over here in the chat that I don't disagree with. Adam Driver would be a great Shadow. I can
would.
see that, dude.
Yeah, actually,
would.
he's got the snaz.
But
He's
he
got the
also
schnoz.
has the lurch.
Got that dark, smoky lurch. Yeah, I was gonna say that word, dark, smoky lurch to him.
Mm-hmm.
And he's a good actor, and he's a good dude. Like I want to be against him. I'm not against him getting roles. I think he's a good actor, a good dude. He's a veteran. Yeah, I would endorse that wholeheartedly. I think Adam Driver would make a great Shadow.
Yeah, no, and Eric, we were talking about Domino Lady. I know who she is, but I don't know anything about her. But I did make that offhand joke because she does use her sexuality to her strength. Joe says, "Well, we're at it. Let's bring back big band swing music. What's wrong with that? Zoot Suit Riot and Cherry Poppin' Daddies, retro fads. It's all this pulp talk would be. Well, I don't mind swing music, dude. It's actually quite complicated form of music. But let's talk a little bit about Doc Savage before we move on."
Cameron is saying this like all these are bad things. What is this?
I don't know. Yeah, it's weird. But that's okay. Opinions. Doc Savage.
His opinions are wrong objectively.
Okay.
Get him out of here. I'm kidding, Cameron. You're loved.
There was
Mwah.
I forget which company did it, but I don't think it was one of the main ones. There was a Doc Savage run for that I read, and I actually like Doc Savage quite a bit. Although I think he's too generic to be rebooted. I know there's a community who wants to see a Doc Savage movie, and I'd watch it, but I just think he's too generic because all the superhero stuff we have today is coming out of his character, really, right? But I think he's too plain and too much in that box to be useful in modern storytelling. I think the Man of Bronze, I believe, is I think he's dead, and I think he's going to stay dead. So anyway, moving on. Moving
Sadly.
on. Now, here is my opinions point. Booster.
I suppose it's me reading this. So Denzel Washington. Denzel encourages people to pray and remember that strength, leadership, and patience are God's gift to us. That's
And
gay.
yeah, and read this one.
Actor Rob Schneider. Rob Schneider encourages fellow Americans to stop shaming and demonizing each other, slams COVID-19 restrictions and mask mandates. Yeah.
Okay. And this one?
And this one, no less. Actor John Leguizamo takes issue with Super Mario Bros. Voice cast. Too bad they went all white, even though Toad is black for some reason.
Toad's a black guy.
Even they made the one servant character a black guy.
Yeah.
Interesting.
And
I have to ask a real quick question. Mr. Leguizamo does understand that Italian plumbers are white, right?
yeah, let me get.
No.
I'm going to get to that. Let me get through
Oh,
it here. Go ahead,
okay.
please. Yeah.
Will Smith throws support behind Black Lives Matter, proposes critical race theory be renamed to truth theory.
Oh, Will.
That's
Oh,
a
Will.
that's
That's
an
not
oxymoron.
how either of those words work,
That's-
Will. That's not how they work, buddy.
Truth and theory that's literally an oxymoron.
It literally is, by definition, yes. Yes.
Something can't be truth and a theory.
Well,
It's one or the other. Will.
here's the thing. Here's the thing I want to put down with this.
Will.
These two guys are representing a growing faction in Hollywood that's coming out and speaking their mind, and they've been quiet for a very long time. We do have people who are more normal in Hollywood. I don't know what their political leanings are, but they're certainly more conservative humans. These are just two that I chose because the articles are recent, but there are many of them. And these two guys are representing all the idiots that keep shooting their mouth out without understanding anything. And there's a lot of them, including Arnold Schwarzenegger, right? Recently, right? But it's funny to me because, Will, I mean, what are you trying to do, Will? You've lost all your cred. You're literally cucked by your wife, literally, dude.
Yeah.
And everybody knows it. My wife and I watched your third movie with Martin Lawrence, Bad Boys for Life, and I'm not going to give spoilers, I guess. But here's the thing: the only Michael Bay movie I ever liked was the Bad Boys movies, and the first one was fun, stylish. It was good. The second one was okay. This movie is literally posing every 5 minutes.
Just, I don't think anyone in the audience is going to be heartbroken if you spoil Bad Boys for Life.
Well, probably not. But there's nothing there anyway. There's not much of a story anyway. It's just a bunch of posing. And my wife and I were watching it, and we were like, Jesus, man. I mean, talk about completely cutting your balls off. Because the original movie was bloody, and it was funny, and it was raw, right? And this third movie literally is just a bunch of over-the-top dramatic posing. And it's so bad. It's so bad. Even though it has some great action pieces, which Michael Bay can do that, it's just really, really a mess. But, Will Smith, what are you trying to do here? And as Thundero had mentioned with John Leguizamo, who, keep in mind, he was in the other Mario Brother movie. He played Luigi, right? But,
Luigi Mario. That was his full name.
That's right.
Yeah, Luigi Mario.
And
Luigi
Bob
Mario.
Hoskins played Mario.
He did.
Yeah.
And it's a fun.
By the way, neither one of those are Italian, so that's fine.
Yeah.
I mean, if we're gonna make it an issue, we got to make it an issue, I guess.
But he is saying something that's really dumb here. And Leguizamo has been spouting stupidity for years now, if you haven't been paying attention. I like John. I've seen him in many things I enjoy, but he's definitely on board this SJW train, without question. And yes, Thundero, when did Italians stop being white people?
I don't know. Listen, maybe John subscribes to early or late 1800s, early 1900s theory that they're not white. Maybe that's where John's at. Maybe he's done a deep dive on the science from 120 years ago, and he's like, this stuff is clearly correct. They're not white at all. I highly doubt this, but maybe that's where he's coming from.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, this statement makes no sense, Mr. Leguizamo. None at all.
None.
The Italians are of European descent, and they are white. So are you, Mr. Leguizamo, whether you like it or not. So, I don't even know
Right.
why them casting white people to play white people. That's apparently not allowed anymore either. You're not even allowed to have actors do white characters in movies about white people.
Right,
Can't have
that's
it.
weird, yeah. And of course, keep in mind, let's talk about the animated movie that's coming out, the Mario animated movie. And these are voice actors. And if we go back and look at some of the greatest voice actors in history, who cares what color they are? It's the voice. Voice doesn't have
Right.
color, dude. There's plenty of voice actors who have done races other than what they are, and they were awesome, and nobody cared. So, it's not like
Only
we have
recently a
actors on
big
the
issue.
screen. Go ahead, the
It's so strange.
booster.
It's only just recently become a big issue having the character's race be a
Yeah,
fucking problem. Uh, because of Hank Azaria and his Abu, which
was
I'm gonna
great.
pretend that Indians don't sound that way.
Yeah, now
And
we're
of course,
supposed
all
to.
the Simpsons cast, they all do about 20 fucking voices each, because that's what's great about voice acting, right? You
Yeah,
can just hire a few people to do a lot of voices,
yeah,
and they all have incredible range, and they all do some kind of stereotype one way or another, right?
hmm
And if I am gonna talk about black voice actors, I'm gonna say Cree Summer, Kevin James, was it Kevin Michael Richardson,
yeah. Oh,
and
he's
Phil
awesome.
Lamar.
Yeah,
They've
Yeah.
all three of these people have voiced characters of many different races, and
yeah.
it's never been an issue.
No,
But now all of a sudden, do those people only have to voice black people now? Can Phil Lamar no longer play uh, bloody Samurai Jack, and some Cree Summon not play every single small Southern girl?
right?
Well,
Why?
No,
I'm going to tell you right now, we're going to have to recast Kratos because the two
Yeah,
black men who have been his voice over the years, we can't be having this.
can't be
You
having
see, that's
this.
exactly.
racist.
That's
Yeah.
inappropriate. Yeah,
Kratos wouldn't be Kratos if he didn't have the voice of a booming black man.
that's true.
Yes,
No,
that's
I
it's
don't
true.
correct.
want a
Yeah.
white. I don't want a white man voicing Kratos.
It's true.
They can't do it.
Yeah, yeah. But Bill Murray voiced an orange cat. Yes, he did. He most certainly did. That's Garfield reference for any of you who are curious. But then, of course, juxtaposed to that, you have Rob Schneider, who's basically saying, let's be nice. Okay. And Denzel's giving kind of more of a religious take, but some prayer in this time of need, and let's be good people. So they're not pointing anyone out. They're not specifically talking about any race or anything. They're just saying let's be good to each other, right?
Yep.
So and it's just two examples, and here we have people that are just promoting hate. Now I understand what Will's doing because he's getting older. He's not getting the parts he used to. He hasn't had any big success in a while,
Mm.
and he's been embarrassed
And his
internationally.
whole wife,
Yes,
yeah, embarrassed
yeah,
him. Yes.
embarrassed him.
I
And
mean, oh my god, the woman married like one of the richest and most charismatic men on the planet, most beloved men on the planet, and she still wasn't fucking happy. Yeah, I'd be pissed if that bitch betrayed me.
yeah, no,
Here's why it's really stupid, because I often cite Mr. Smith as the example of their narrative being obvious dog shit. Because for me, when I was a young man, a teenager, Will Smith was my rock.
oh
He
yeah,
was he was the star of Hollywood. He was the biggest
yeah,
man in Hollywood by far. Wasn't even close at the time. There was nobody touching him. And for years, up till till I was all throughout my high school years, he was the king of Hollywood.
hmm
And for him to completely swallow this nonsense, whether he has or not, he's at least testifying to it as if he has, is very disheartening to me because this man is smarter than that. Will Smith's not an idiot. Anybody who thinks that is wrong. He's not stupid. He's a very intelligent man.
no,
But
he's
what
not.
he is he's weak,
Yep,
obviously, because he
clearly.
puts up with that shit with his wife and he caves to narratives like this that he knows for a fact through what he's lived is not true.
Yeah. Well, and look at his kids. It's
Yeah,
perfect example. I mean, just look at the person's kids. What kind of character they have. He clearly had no control in the house.
that's right.
And this is it's a sad departure because I agree. But I mean we've all grown up enjoying all kind of foreigners. I mean, how many Hong Kong actors did I grow up absolutely loving? Think about all the damn Canadians.
Yeah,
No,
yeah.
no. That was a joke, but I
Tons
guess
of
it
them.
wasn't funny.
Tons of them. Tons of them dang Canucks with
Damn
their
Canucks, yeah.
niceness and their
Yeah.
maple syrup and their communism.
So are you. Yeah. But yeah, no, of course it's a stupid narrative. It's like these idiots getting up there and saying I'm the first this or that, like Simu, thinking he's the first Asian superstar. And it's like, dude, you're not even close. You're not
First
even
of all, you're
worthy of
not even an
licking
Asian
their
you're
boots,
not even a
dumbass.
superstar, bro. Like,
Yeah.
calm down. You had one movie that made a little bit more money than people thought it would. Good job. We'll see you in 5 years. See how you're doing,
Yeah.
superstar.
It's still by all accounts a flop.
Yes.
Yeah, no, they certainly lost money. I hope they get back money. I mean, unfortunately, the movie isn't as good as it could have been, but it's just these idiots. But and John is the one that kind of pisses me off the most, to be honest with you, more than Will. Will has shown the fact that he's just weak, and he's shown that for a very
Yeah.
long time. John has been involved in so many cool things. He's done a lot of really fun things, but recent years, or the past decade, he's become bitter. He's really bitter. His last stand up was all about I hate white people, how proud I am of my mixed Mexican heritage. And it's like, even he, unironically pointed the light, shone the light on that fact. Mexican people love you, have no problem with you, but you are a mutt race, just like a
Yeah.
lot of other people in the Americas, dude.
It's like me. Yes. I'm a mutt. I'm proud of being a mutt. Uh these folk, man, they've just so they've allowed other people to tell them that they must be envious of first, right? They have more than you. Why is that? That's not fair. That's how it starts, right? That's how they sell it. That's how the devil sells it. That's not fair. Why can't you have that? Why can't you have the knowledge of good and evil, right? In the Garden of Eden. Why shouldn't you have that? That's how they start. And then it descends, it degenerates into just full on hatred.
Yeah. No, it does.
And that's where John's at now. He's allowed himself, which he shouldn't be, but he is, to allow his envy and his own personal prejudices to turn him into somebody who he claims to be against, which is a actual prejudice bigot.
Yeah. Yeah, it's sad,
And
dude.
for some reason, it's okay when you do it if you do it towards a certain group of people. And I'm like, hey, all right, if that's the rules, fine. But Mr. Leguizamo, I hate to tell you, buddy, you're probably more white than you are brown.
Oh no, for sure. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Basically, well, I'm not going to get into the historical aspects of it. However, I will agree on one little aspect of this, though, because this is an animated movie, right? And we're talking about voice actors here. The fact that you're going with Chris Pratt to do Mario instead of the original voice actor who's still around
Yeah.
doing it, I don't get.
It is strange.
It is
If
strange.
Chris Pratt isn't doing a voice, then it just feels wrong. He should, because Mario has a very iconic voice,
He
right?
does.
Yeah.
Very iconic. Like,
To
wahoo!
me.
If they
Woohoo!
start the fucking thing with him going wahoo, oh sorry, I had something in my throat. Hello, I am Chris Pratt. It would just
Ah,
be
no, no,
so
no.
insulting.
Chris is a hard worker. He'll put the work in. He will.
He will, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
I think it'll probably be fine, but I do agree that the guy should get his victory lap. If
Why
you're gonna
not?
do this, give it to him. He's been a loyal servant to you through I don't even know how many Mario games they've made now.
Since the
And it's
80s, he's been doing Mario voices.
Mario is
Long
the
time.
biggest in scope video game franchise of all time, and one of the longest running, if not the longest running, at that level. So there's no reason not to. Like you said, why not let that guy do it? I understand Chris Pratt. He's a big star, and he is, and he draws. He's a draw, whether people like it or not.
As
Chris
they
Pratt's
said in
one of
the
the biggest
promotion
and best
video,
draws.
he's so cool.
He's just so
He
cool,
is
and he
cool,
is.
and
Chris is
he's
a cool
friendly.
dude.
He's a nice guy. But
Mhm.
man, Grimlock here, which I don't know why he's not in here just talking about it. But he said John's a pussy.
Yeah,
He got in line because he was afraid of losing work, and I wonder how much of that is at play here,
it
because.
is.
John is without question made a lot of money in his career, as all of these guys. That's another reason why I kind of looking at it, because if you look here, Denzel Washington has made tons of money. Rob Schneider's made a lot of money too. Adam Sandler keeps him green, dude. John has made a lot of money, and Will might be the wealthiest, should be the wealthiest here. But here's the thing: we know if you notice about actors in Hollywood, some of them are smart with their money, and some of them are not. And I
Yeah.
kind of wonder if Denzel is simply in a position where he can just simply be himself because he
Mhm.
invested his money correctly and doesn't really care if they give him work or not because he has plenty
Some
of
of
money.
these people are worth way too much fucking money.
Well, now my question is, like I said, Rob Schneider, maybe he's been good with his money, he's fine. But are John and Will in financial difficulties because of their stupidity? I mean, maybe there's something to that, right?
I don't think Will's in financial difficulty. I think he's in cred difficulty. He's lost his
Mm,
credibility. He's lost his name, and he doesn't sell like he used to. He doesn't draw like he used to. Not even
Yeah,
close.
got old. We all
And
get old.
this sort of thing is, especially for a male actor, a black male actor in Hollywood, I think that seems to be more important to them than the money. Is the
Maybe.
fame and the clout. Whereas Denzel doesn't really seem that way. Now, I could be wrong about that, but he seems more about he just wants to make that money and make those movies. I think Morgan Freeman's kind of the same way.
Yeah, yeah.
They're kind
Morgan's
of like
definitely that way. Yeah.
they just want the money. Sam Jackson, they just want the money. Right? This is a job
Well,
to them. They make the money. This is how
yeah,
they make their money.
yeah. And
Whereas Will is very much, it always has been about the clout, about the being famous. He loves that shit, and he's always loved it, and it's obvious. Whereas Denzel is kind of, he. It's not that he dislikes being famous. He might, but I think he sees it more as just part of the job, right? That's just what
yeah.
goes with being an actor.
Well, it is interesting because you have well, there are more. I know. I just chose these four, but everyone knows who they are. You have two guys that are just saying let's be nice, and two guys that are bitching, right?
Yes.
And it is interesting. And I have to give a shout out, or not a shout out, a call out to Mr. Washington. Sir, please talk to your boy, please. He does not have your
yeah,
glamour,
boy.
sir.
Why? Because they're both
Please
black, Chester.
help him out.
Nice.
Rub him on the head a
Um,
little bit. Give him a little of that magic, please. His boy, yeah, his son.
I don't think. I don't even know if they know each other, Chester. We don't even know that.
What do you talk about? His son is trying to become an actor right now, and they keep throwing a bunch
Oh,
of movies
Oh,
Denzel's
like
son.
Tenet.
He means his actual
I
son.
thought you were referring to Will Smith.
No, no, no.
Oh shit!
I talked
Oh,
about his
fuck me.
actual son,
I
who,
read that totally wrong. I just assumed. Oh, my apologies, Chester.
yeah. Well, we can talk about other sons too, and please stop, Will, with your damn son. Stop it.
Yeah,
That's
just
another conversation. But no,
oh, Mr. Smith.
I
yeah,
don't think Janet Smith has been in anything in years. I think that was
because
an
he
attempt at a position that
sucks.
just failed.
Yeah. But Denzel's son is being put into a lot of stuff recently, and he just ain't got his daddy. He ain't got his daddy's thing. And one I've mentioned this probably already, but Denzel's a very short guy. A lot of Hollywood people are. But one thing Denzel does that his son doesn't do, and I've seen pictures of them actually together. They're the same size. Actually, the son might be a slight taller. But Denzel played big really well. He comes off as a much taller, bigger man than he actually is. He sells it well. His son always seems teeny in anything he's doing, but he doesn't have daddy's charisma. I don't know. That's a different conversation, but I'm like, man, because I enjoy legacy actors. I have no problem with it whatsoever.
Like Charlie Sheen.
Like Charlie Sheen or Emilio. I haven't seen him forever. He decided to be a family guy, though, I guess.
I was joking.
I don't mind Charlie. I mean, he's got
He's a
problems, but I don't mind
maniac.
him. Yeah.
He
You want to
makes
know why that
makes
is,
me laugh.
Chester? Because Denzel, at least he's billed at 6'1". I
He's
think you're probably
not.
right. He's probably shorter than that.
He's way
But his
shorter.
son is only billed at 5'9". So how
Yeah.
short is he really?
Yeah, no, his son isn't that tall either. I think his son's probably around 5'7", and Denzel's probably around 5'5", 5'6". They're
Yeah.
very little people, and I know people have argued with me on this. No, he's over 6 feet. I've actually stood in a room with Denzel Washington. I never spoke to him, but I've been near the man. He's a little dude, and it doesn't matter. I mean, I love Denzel
And
Washington.
how do you know he hasn't grown since you've met him?
Well, it was a long time ago.
Mm.
But no, the thing is, he's a good enough actor where he sells what he needs to sell, and he has that charisma just frickin' waves off of him. If you want an example of it, go watch him in The Enforcer, right? Because they're not the greatest big budget movies ever, but he plays it so well, and that's another race swap right there. Right, because the original guy was a British guy, right? But yeah. Anyway, that's a different conversation. The point being opinions. Um, and these guys are smart enough to know that their opinion doesn't really matter because they're not giving an opinion here. What they're doing is saying, let's stop giving opinions and just be nice to each other. Let's live
Yeah.
in a cordial world. That's what they're saying. They're not giving you an opinion. These assholes are giving opinions, right? And the
They're
thing,
giving, see, what they're giving is they're giving advice. And that's, while that is similar to an opinion, and technically it is an opinion, there's a different way of doing it. And like Denzel's saying, people should remember that strength comes from God or whatever, and people should pray for each other. I have no problem with that. It's a generic blessing, basically. Bless each other. And Rob is basically saying the same thing. We have to stop being so mean to each other, bless each other. Whereas these other two are giving a mean-spirited opinion. The difference between advice and opinion is the target in this context.
yeah,
So the target that the first two are making or are aiming at is elevation. They're trying to elevate humanity in their discourse and society, the way we behave around each other and to each other and treat each other. And these other two aren't doing that. They're trying to knock down. And it's very obvious because why would you even mention the race of voice actors in a thing where they're the same race as the characters? So it doesn't even make any sense. Like,
yeah,
all you're doing is it's spite and petty, and you're trying to knock down. And this truth theory thing is just stupid.
it
It's an
does.
oxymoron. It doesn't even make any sense to say. And it's not the truth theory because it isn't the truth. And truth doesn't need a theory. Truth is the truth. Simple as that. There's no theory of the truth. There just is the truth and there is not the truth. Theory is how you find the truth. Typically, is how you
Yeah,
start. That's where you start at. It's preposterous
Or
and
you
it's
spread catty
silly.
little rumors about white people.
Yeah, that's what it is. It comes off as catty, whereas
it
Denzel and
does.
Rob come off as much more enlightened,
Yeah,
much more gracious. So it's
Those,
graceful. The
it,
other
those are
thing isn't
not words
graceful.
I would have ever used to describe Rob
yeah,
Schneider, but here we are,
yeah. Here we are. But I
having
think the
watched this
modern,
piece of shit
yeah,
movies.
but I think the modern word is Karenish. Okay.
Yes.
But no.
Aaron Hitch.
That's true. Grimlock says Chester is an evolved primate. Everyone is small to him. Hey, now
That's right.
stop with your tall shaming, your tallism,
That's right.
or tall
That's
phobia.
right.
Knock it off.
Take him out at the knees. Let's make him shorter.
Right.
That's about equity. It's
And,
time. He gets
and
as short as the people there.
Eric's going to
Yeah,
light thing.
I'm gonna take out your kneecaps. I get your ankles.
Okay, fair enough. But Eric, yeah, I'm sorry I got focused on that. I'm not trying to disparage Denzel at all. I love Denzel Washington. He's a great fun actor. I've never really he's never irritated me. I enjoy his movies. Don't care about his height.
Oh, yeah.
My point was is he can be what he needs to be. His acting
I'm
ability.
I'm sad there wasn't more Equalizer movies. I thought those were cool.
They were cool. They were. I enjoyed
Yeah,
them quite a bit. He's like a nerdy John Wick.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Jester, just to prove your point, I put a picture of him and his son in the chat standing next to each other. There is no way Denzel's 6'1".
No,
There's
he's not.
no
He's
way.
definitely not. But like I said, it doesn't really matter though. It's not
Oh, what's happening
important.
with those teeth? Oh, he looks like a nerd. What's happening? Oh, Denzel, that's gnarly.
Yeah. He's actually taller than his son. Slightly, maybe. But yeah, let me bring it up here real quick so we can see it. But yeah, yeah, it doesn't matter though. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
My point is that Denzel is really good at being Denzel, and he's been good at it forever. Even when he was
Yes.
very young, he was good at it. His son ain't got it, and he wants to though. I don't know. I don't have any problems with his son. He might be the nicest guy ever, but he just ain't got it, man. And I'm like, it's a shame, is what I'm saying. It's a shame.
Yes.
Yeah,
That's what it is too. It's it. You said the right word. That's what we all, that's what they call it. They could literally call it it.
yeah.
Denzel just
The
has it.
X
He
Factor.
has that formula that makes a star.
He does.
Chris Pratt, like we're talking about, he has it. He's got the star power. I knew he had the star power when I saw him on Parks and Recreation when he was playing some loser ex-boyfriend, and he was out of shape at the time. He was kind of hefty, and he just there's something about him. He just draws your attention, and some people are just like that. They just get your attention for whatever reason. And Denzel's one of them. Keanu's one of them. Chris Pratt's one of them, and his son just looks like generic black guy with a big smile.
Yeah,
That's
no, yeah,
what I
it's
describe him as.
unfortunate, and he's very modern. He's very European in a way. I kind of wondered if he did grow up in Europe. I wonder if Denzel spent a lot of time in Europe because he feels European to me. The
I'm not
son
gonna
does.
lie, I thought he was the This Is America guy.
Oh, okay. But my
I'm
wife and
not
I,
racist.
you probably are. But my wife and I was here, so I watched it as well. But we watched this his son. I don't even know his name. Um, Denzel Jr. here. Watched his movie where he basically is like in Europe and Spain or something like that, and there's a car accident. His girlfriend dies, but he gets caught up in this political kidnapping thing. It's just this weird little movie, but he just the whole thing. It's just like I'm screaming at him, dude, emote, give me something, give me something. You run around, but it's almost as if I could put a garbage bag over your head and it would be as equally entertaining. And Tenet, my God, how boring! My God, that movie's so boring. Anyway,
Anyway,
anyway.
indeed.
And I agree, dude, with Captain Canada. Rob Schneider does have it. He always has.
He
Yeah,
so
he
does
does. For
not.
for such a goofy, yeah, but for such a goofy looking little dude, he did well for himself.
He did. He did.
He
Especially
did
that
do
the
well for
early
himself.
'90s when he was in all those movies with just he was the odd man, right? He was supposed to be the odd man out, like
Yeah.
all what Demolition Man and Judge Dredd and stuff. He's in these movies where he just doesn't belong,
Yeah.
yet
Did he
he
have
he
something on
fits in.
Stallone? How did he get in those movies?
Listen, maybe Stallone likes men that are shorter than him because he's also a man that's
Well, a lot of
That
Hollywood are
could be it.
small.
That could be it. Yeah.
Yeah. But I had nothing on Rob Schneider. I probably said this before, but when we were living in Hawaii, and my wife was working at DHS. He came in and bought something at her register, so she met him.
interesting.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry to hear that.
Yeah. Because she didn't even know who he was. We were watching Adam Sandler movie Waterboy, I think, and she's like, "That guy came in the store the other day." I was like, "What?"
Rob Schneider is the type of dude who seems like the type of dude you want to hang out with.
Yeah, I
Like
think
he's
so.
just,
he,
I
he
think you just
seems
have
like
a
a
good
fine
time.
guy. I got nothing against
Yeah.
him personally. I just think he's not funny, and I think his movies are shit.
How dare you, sir?
Yeah, I said it. Said it to your face.
Say it right to your face.
His movies are shit. The movies that he's in, no. He's a
No.
great second man.
Yeah,
Great at that.
he's got a few good things where he's in them. Yeah.
I liked him when he's like, "You can do it." That was funny. It was funny. Anyway, there
You
you
can
go,
do
guys.
it.
That's what I got for you today on offer. Interesting stuff, to be sure. I don't know how all of this is going to shake out in the long run, but I do think it's encouraging that, like Mr. Schneider and Mr. Washington here, we are seeing more actors starting to speak up and say, "Hey, chill, man." Right?
You just stop being a bitch. That's what they're basically saying. They're just
Yeah.
saying it nicer. Like, listen, knock it off.
Yeah.
And that's
Knock
what we
it off.
need, honestly. We need some of these older guard actors who they can't really. You can't cancel Denzel Washington
No.
to just get out here and slap him upside the back of the head and get him in line. because that's the problem. Is there's no male leadership that isn't completely insane
Yeah.
in positions of influence, especially in Hollywood. I think you get some more of this. You see some more of this from these older guard, highly respected men, and a lot of this is going to start to unravel.
Yep.
And then guys like Chris Pratt, who they keep trying to cancel and just simply cannot do it, helps unravel it further. Just because he's such a good dude, and he draws money.
He does.
He is one of the biggest draws in the history of Hollywood. I don't know how that happened, but it did. Simple as that. You can't deny there is no argument against success. There isn't one.
That little Japanese dude said it himself. He's so cool.
He's just so cool.
He is.
He's
so
just
cool.
so cool.
Yeah.
He's so cool.
Yeah. And no, I agree 100%. I mean, and we do need more of it. And I don't know. The chat might be correcting me. Maybe Denzel has said something political or not in the past. I don't know. I've never heard it. The only sort of political thing I might have heard out of him was there was some movie, I don't remember which it was, a long time ago, where he basically had to have a white girl as his love interest in the movie, and he didn't like it. He thinks he should, black men should be portrayed with black men in women in movies, black women in movies. Yeah, I that was
Black
for
men and
Booster.
women.
Well, you know
Hey.
what I mean. He feels that that you shouldn't. He doesn't like the race mixing thing. He thinks you should on movies you should have black dudes with black ladies. That's the
I
only
only
thing I
agree
ever heard
with
him
him.
say was that.
I only agree with him when it's being forced one way or the other.
Yeah.
If it's just the movie, the setting, whatever, the characters need it for whatever reason, fine. The story needs it. Okay, cool, whatever, who cares? But when you're forcing it specifically for some weird political agenda to
Yeah.
try and normalize something that no one really cares about anymore, it's just weird.
It is.
And I've noticed a lot of black people are noticing it too. Like, they're like, why is it always a mixed couple? Always. Like,
Recently,
constantly.
yeah. Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can't have a white person with a white person. That's true. These days, it's
Or even
ridiculous.
typically black people with black people anymore. They're always some mixed race conglomeration. And it's, why? What are you doing? Stop that.
That's true. And keep in mind, he said this had nothing to do with white people at all. This wasn't an anti-white thing. He was talking about the black community has
Yeah.
a problem, and we need to. I think he said something along the lines of, "We black men need to love our black women," or something like that. But it was a long time ago he made that statement. But that's the only political thing I've ever heard him personally that I've heard from him.
To be honest, the brothers have a habit of going after the chunky white girls.
They do, to a
Yeah.
point, but we are seeing more and more and more of it pushed back.
Might I say, bless you, black men.
Bless you. Yeah. Well, everybody needs love, but it's not my conversation to be part of. But I get his point. I understand what he's talking about, and he's not the only one. We've seen this conversation in the black community more and more and more recently, but that's not the reason why I brought it up. I brought it up simply that's the only thing I've heard him say that would be considered political, because this isn't political at all. This is like, can't we all get along? Anyway, let's thank you all for coming in here. We do appreciate it. Let me come back over here to the other side real quick. That was fun. I enjoyed today. Today was more lighthearted, don't you think, Thundero?
It was nice. It was good times.
It was nice.
Good time.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. And Booster, just real quick question. The chat was curious. Where were you?
I was minding my damn business like you should.
They felt you had been kidnapped or something?
I have, it's true.
He has. Fair enough.
Yes.
So no
My Mondays and Tuesdays have conflicting time thingies.
no greasy details.
No, you get nothing.
You get nothing. All right, chat. Well, there you go. Booster
get
gives
nothing.
you nothing. But Thunder and I give you love every day. Well, that we're here. Anyway, before we get out of here, I'm going to give these guys closing statements. I do apologize for last Thursday. Unfortunately, I was really looking forward to the X-Men Drone a Quarter too, but you guys know my life.
You gonna try again with X-Men?
Whatever. I'd love to, because I really wanted to do that. I was looking forward to it because I wanted us to do something more mainstream, Booster. Yeah. So I hope we can. But it looks like if you look over on the Drone a Quarter, there we have a guest this week.
We do? Oh.
I
was gonna say Chester if we do X-Men, you have to rename the title X People.
I will. I'll take
That would
care
be
of it.
so fucking funny.
X persons.
X persons, no
Yes,
less.
I will pluralize it.
Person. I can already hear the song. It's just a one low monotone note. X person.
X person.
X person.
All right. Booster, any closing comments?
I have over 80 videos currently
Yeah,
ready to launch.
please do.
And I'm still autistically gripping onto them. I don't know what's holding me.
Yeah.
Because I'm very excited to share them with you, and they keep getting better.
Just drop one a day.
So yeah,
I mean, why
gonna
not, dude?
happen very soon.
You can't think of YouTube as will it be successful? You can't. It'll either
No.
be that or not. We don't have the production or the money for the production value to go out there and actually try to launch a successful YouTube. We don't. So just have fun, man. Just drop it.
Me? Have
Yeah,
fun, me.
Me?
man.
I
All right. Thundero, take us out of here, man.
I have a very simple little thing, a little blurb. It's about marriage, but it's
Mm,
important for everything, really. It's just
mm,
marriage is what this one's specifically about, but you can apply it to really any relationship that matters. It's not about love. It's not about trust.
no.
Marriage is really about three things at the end of the day. It's
Mm,
about discipline, it's about commitment, and it's about helping one another.
yeah.
Be a help, not a hindrance. Lift up, not pull down. And when you do those three things, when you stay true and vigilant, when you elevate instead of devastate, then you breed love, then you breed trust.
Oh yeah.
Love and trust are not what holds a marriage together. They are the harvest of matrimony, not the seed. You cannot reap before you have sown. Stop trying to.
Mm, very nice, dude. That's a nice little quote you read there. It's
Yeah,
true.
I wrote it.
Oh, nice. I like it. Love is
that's
quiet.
wild.
Passion is loud.
Right.
Namaste.
Oh, I love you, you silly little bugger. Mwah.